KFI AM 640 Insulated with Mo Kelly. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. I tell you, if the fires weren't enough, and they were all by themselves, if the heat wasn't enough all by itself, wake up this morning, and now I'm in the middle of just doing my morning research, looking through the news, and up pops an alert that there was an earthquake imminent. Stop, drop, roll, duck for cover, whatever it said. And the earthquake almost started simultaneous to the alert. The good news is I got the alert on my phone. The bad news is I couldn't do anything about it. I mean, it could have been my wife rolling over and saying, hey, there's an earthquake. It would have been the same impact, as in not at all. There's nothing I'd be able to do. But it was good to know that I got an alert and I didn't have to have my location tracking on. I didn't have to put on my location on my phone, and I didn't have like the Shake Alert app. It was just like any one of those other alerts. Like if you had a silver alert or an amber alert, now we have earthquake alerts. And it didn't scare me. It was just, oh, wow, that's interesting. And of course, you know, you had the earthquake, and I felt it, to say all that. I felt it. It wasn't anything major, and I knew, oh, that's not a 5. And I saw the original report. The initial report was like 5.1. I said, it didn't feel like a 5. It didn't feel like it. And then they readjusted it down to 4.7. But I thought about Tuwala, where he was saying that the more earthquakes we have may lead to the more earthquakes that we have. Not that I'm fearful, but it's not anything I can control, and I don't know if it's anything I can even prepare for beyond my meager earthquake kit in my car. So, yes, we're having more earthquakes. I don't know if they're becoming stronger in strength. They're hovering in the 3s and the 4s. Every once in a while, we had one closer to a 5, like today. But it's not like they're getting progressively stronger. That's all I can say.
I don't know about that, because for a while we were having a bunch of, and you'll recall this because you would always say, do not mention it unless it's a 4. Why?
No. I said 5.
I don't know about that, because I think
we can check the tape.
Okay, we'll go back and listen to the tape.
I said I don't care about anything below a 5.
I would bring up a Quake. You would always be like, it was a 2-something, a 3-something. That was nothing. Correct. Now on the regular, we are having high 3s and even some mid to high 4s. So they are, over the period of time since we've been looking at this, getting stronger.
Recency bias.
Recency bias. You can look. We can go and look this up. You will see 2s and 3s, and now we are seeing high 3s and mid to high 4s.
Okay, we'll see. Let's use this as a benchmark. And we'll see what the next earthquake, if we should have a next earthquake, if it should go up or should it go down. Now, we get earthquakes all the time that we don't necessarily feel. And they're not always reported. You know, if we have a 2.7, not an aftershock, but an actual quake unto itself, we don't necessarily hear about it. So I don't know if they are more numerous or if we're just more aware of them. 4.7, that's relatively significant, I would say. It's noticeable. Most people, I think, are going to feel that. But we're also looking at it within the context of we've had more earthquakes that we have reported in recent weeks. But, you know, the fires, wow, that's a lot. Still dealing with that line fire and other fires around California. The heat, thank goodness, with no thanks to Mark Ronner, because he couldn't bring along any real rain to, you know, get rid of some of this heat, but the heat's going away now.
Always looking for a scapegoat, aren't you?
Well,
always.
No, I'm always looking to blame you for something. There's a difference. Scapegoat is very general and abstract and non-specific. I'm looking to blame you.
Thank you for the clarification. Much appreciated.
Sure. And now we had the earthquake, which started off the day, but it woke me up. I mean, you know how you wake up and you look at your phone, you're just kind of half awake, you're not really fully awake. Then I got the alert, the emergency alert, and on my phone, I don't know about yours, Twelve. Mine is that loud buzz, buzz, buzz. I mean, it's going to startle you. And I said, what the hell's going on? What's going on? I mean, who got abducted? Who's missing? That's what I thought, because I thought it was one of those more traditional alerts. And then I realized it was an earthquake alert. I had been asking for that for the longest. You know, Why is it you just can't send out an alert like you would any other time. But we had to get the Shake Alert app. You had to turn on your location service. No, I'm not going to do that. It's going to burn out my phone. For an alert, which is only give me at best 2-3 seconds.
Now, see, I got the alert while I was driving. And so I'm driving into work. I got the alert, and like a few seconds later, my daughter called me and said, "Daddy, did you feel the earthquake?" And I'm like, "No, I'm driving. I can't tell anything right now. My car's going up and down the freeway. I'm bumping around." And she said, "Scared the heck out of me. I didn't know what was going on." So she felt it up in North Hill. So, but I got the alert, and then shortly after, just like I'm talking like, bzzz, and then all of a sudden, 2 seconds later, ring, I'm getting a phone call. So I like the fact that I got an alert in enough time that I think we're getting closer to some real prediction.
Okay. All right. If you can give me 10 seconds, that's what I'm looking for realistically. Okay. 10 seconds, I can do something with that. Mark Reiner, did you get an alert this morning?
Yeah, from the person shaking me in bed. I gotta print out a sheet of paper and tape it on the headboard that says, "If I am asleep, no, I didn't feel the earthquake. No, the earthquake didn't wake me up. Get out." But this happens every time. Every single time.
What time do you think you got to sleep? Because I know then this just ruined your morning.
Oh, it was late because I've always had terrible insomnia. I don't think I got to sleep till after 6 a.m. last night.
Oh my gosh, I don't know how you do it. I couldn't stay up to 6 a.m. if my life depended on it. I don't think so. Not anymore.
Well, I didn't want to, but I was just wound up. I was writing. I was reading. Then I watched an episode of Slow Horses, and you just get wound up. I would do anything to be able to get to sleep. So, and in fact, you gave me a while back some natural stuff to go to sleep, and I've been trying it out.
Yeah, the tart cherries. It's good.
Yeah.
Stefan, good evening. Did you get the alert this morning?
Hello. No, because I don't want to get woken up like you guys did by the phone. So I didn't get an alert, and I was completely knocked out. So I didn't feel anything.
Anything? Wow. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Now, here's the real question. Does everyone have an earthquake kit in their car? Home is a little bit different, but in their car.
I have the concepts of an earthquake in my car.
A+.
Well played. We'll just leave it there. It's later with Mo Kelly, KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app, and we have a Metro update. Nobody died. No one got stabbed, at least to the best of my knowledge, but it's an update.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
And since I sat down with KFI's Michael Monks some weeks ago, talking about Metro, how Metro had been reaching out to him, trying to feed him information, trying to somehow influence my commentary on Metro. And since I sat down with him, there has been no overture from Metro to come on this show. There's been no opening of the lines of communication, at least back channels, to see if we can come to some agreement. They can offer some representative. I'm not going to beg. I put out the invitation, and it has been ignored to the best of my knowledge. They know how to email me directly. They know how to contact me, because it was explained to me that they are not happy with, I'll say, the tone of my commentary. They feel that I've left out some information, but they don't offer anyone to clarify or correct me. So I'm going to keep going in the direction that I have been going. LA Metro, according to published reports, is now enforcing their tap to exit program in Santa Monica. But they've also announced that they're expanding this tap to exit pilot program to all 10 end of line stations. But they're starting it with this Santa Monica station. And if you don't remember, riders are supposed to tap their cards to enter the Metro system. But with this pilot program, riders will also have to tap to exit. Meaning, if you didn't pay a fare to board, you'll have to pay a fare at the end. The thinking is that, according to the stats, up to 94% of people arrested on LA Metro for violent crime don't have a valid fare or tap card. The thinking is that the program will make sure it's only being used by customers for legitimate travel. Let's stop there. This is some really faulty logic here. I understand there is a correlation between criminals, let's just call them criminals, and not paying the fare, because criminals are out there criminaling. They don't pay the fare. That's consistent. There's a correlation that the criminals are not actually legitimately on the trains. But there's not a causal relationship between not paying your fare and that leading to criminality, and there's not a causal relationship between making people tap to get off the train and that decreasing crime. Here's why. If you were criminal enough to get on the train without paying, you're probably criminal enough to get off the train without paying. Also, this is just end of line. This is one station. And I have to remind people, I did ride the Metro. If you don't go all the way to the end of the line, this tap to exit program, which is clearly not foolproof, if you've seen the pictures, it seems like you can slide under or climb over, but it's not going to physically keep you on the train. Or even if it does keep you on the train, you'll just go in the other direction, because it can't keep you on the train forever. You'll just get off maybe the stop before the end. Why? Because you know that there will be more resistance at the end of the line. When I was riding, the end of the line for the red line was North Hollywood. And I sometimes, or most times, I get off at Universal City, which is one stop before the end. And if I were out there trying to somehow fare jump, and I knew that I would have more resistance, I don't know if they'd be able to stop me, but more resistance if I went all the way to the end of the line, since I would be out there as a criminal, you know what I probably would do? I'd probably get off before the end of the line. I didn't pay to get on. I know I can get off with no resistance if I get off before the end of the line. I don't know how this is actually supposed to work. But Metro, since I know you listen to me every single night, and I do appreciate the support, don't get me wrong. It's very flattering, very, very, very flattering to know that you listen, and you listen intently, and you hate listen. You get mad every time I talk about Metro, and you want to talk about every time I talk about Metro, but you don't come on the show. I need someone to explain this to me. Explain it to me like I'm 5. Explain it to me like I'm in 5th grade, as they say. Let me know how keeping people, or I should say forcing people to pay to get off, is somehow going to decrease crime. I understand the correlation. It's almost like saying, hey, criminals don't pay taxes. Well, that's, they're criminals. They're going to circumvent the law. But you haven't shown me, or haven't at least put it in print or explained it where it makes sense, how forcing people to pay at the end when they didn't even pay to get on is somehow going to be a deterrent to them shooting, stabbing, or punching someone. I don't know how much it is to ride Metro now. Let's say it's $2.50. Okay. And I like to use Mark as a foil.
Of course you do.
And Mark is going to get on LA Metro tomorrow. He's going to pay his $2.50 fare. He's just going to ride. No, excuse me. I'm sorry. I'm going to use him as a criminal. He doesn't pay his $2.50 fare, and he gets on in Long Beach, the blue line, and then he's going to get on the red line, and he's going to ride the red line almost to the end. They're about maybe, 15, 20 stops in between. Do you know how much criming Mark can do between getting on in Long Beach on the blue line and
before I
maybe
get on, I need to clarify something. Have I robbed a 7-Eleven before I got on?
Quite possibly.
Okay, thank you.
Quite possibly, depending on the time. Let's say it was maybe 4 a.m, and you're going to use Metro as your getaway vehicle.
Okay. Perfect.
So you just run and jump on the Metro, and according to this, if you don't take it to the end of the line, you will not have any problem getting off.
It's just like being in heat.
Had to make it weird. Had to make it weird. And it took me a second. Is he? Yes, he is. Yes, he is. And coming from a cat owner, yeah, that makes sense.
I'm in the De Niro movie.
Oh, yes. Okay.
That's what I meant.
Oh, sure you did. Sure you did. Anyhow, it doesn't make sense how forcing people to pay before getting off when they didn't pay to get on is somehow going to be a deterrent from shanking riders as they go.
Shanking. You're whipping out the prison terminology. I like that.
Well, it's kind of like a prison yard. It kind of is.
Well, let me pause to take my fare out of the old prison wallet.
And I understand it's not supposed to solve everything, but I'm not so sure this solves anything. I don't know if this is more press release than actual policy that makes a difference. I don't know if just because you're going to, at one station, they're saying it's going to be rolled out at the end of the line for all the lines. So the one station, or let's say two, if you do it on both ends in both directions, that's going to stop all the crime in between. Or it's going to prevent them from getting off the train at all, even if they go to the end of the line. Because why? Criminal.
Well, I think the easy takeaway here is that it's far more efficient to lean on one of our reporters than to answer direct questions from you.
I guess so, but if the goal is to change either my perception or my commentary about Metro, I mean, am I that intimidating, Mark? And I'm going to ask you this because I know how you're going to answer it.
I'm fully intimidated by you. Can't you tell? I mean, I'm shaking. Look at me.
You would think it would not be a difficult task to reach out and offer some sort of representative to help further explain this, because to me, it just doesn't make any sense. And yes, to be serious, there is an endemic problem of crime on Metro trains. That's why we keep having these conversations. That's why we keep having these incidents. That's why we keep having these frustrated Metro employees in the communications department about my commentaries. But this is not going to solve the problem. It's not. And I'm not sure that it's even going to improve the problem. If anything, it's just going to change how we look at the problem.
I can tell you, having been a journalist for a fairly long time now, there's, especially with government and city type folks, they can often consider discussion and mockery of the problem to be worse than the actual problem. This is what I've found.
No, you're correct, because even in this instance, they are more upset, they as in LA Metro, upset at the shaming that I've done, not the actual crime which is happening that I'm shaming them about.
That does seem to be the case.
Yeah, it'd be different. They say, hey, Mo, no. Your facts are incorrect. This is actually what is happening, and this is having a positive impact on it, and it's being missed in what you're reporting to your listeners. I'd be willing to have that conversation, but that's not the conversation that they want to have.
Well, I don't know if you're aware of this, but we have a proud tradition in the United States of blaming the news media for reporting on the problem and discussing it, as opposed to being horrified by the actual problem.
Oh, I never knew that.
It's like a little mini history lesson tonight.
It's Later with Mo Kelly. KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. And as I told you earlier in the week, I think right now, I can't say for sure, but I'm pretty sure right now, former President Trump is here in the LA area asking you for your money. Maybe you're with him right now. We'll talk about it in just a moment.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
I wish I could tell you, but it's a secret, I guess. We're not supposed to know. Former President Trump is in town, or at least reportedly he's in town, for a fundraiser in the LA area this evening. And there is going to be a planned news conference tomorrow from the Trump National Golf Course in Rancho Palos Verdes tomorrow, maybe late morning, early afternoon. And again, this refers back to a post on the Trump 47 committee website and social media, which says that there will be an evening reception in Los Angeles today, but it did not provide the exact location and time. But I think this is like kind of fundraiser time. It's a dinner hour. You're going to get people together, spend some money. You know, this would be the time it would be going on. But to attend the event, it would cost you, assuming that you were in the know, $3,300 at the minimum. That's just to walk in the door and get your rubber chicken dinner. $3,300. Preferred seating is offered for a donation of $7,500. If you're willing to pony up $50,000, they'll even throw in a photo op and attendance to a special reception. Oh, there's more. If you're willing to give up $125,000, you will be elevated to the title of co-host of the event. And it also will include a roundtable discussion with the former president himself, as well as a photo op and reception. I don't know, reception for you or reception for him or attend a reception. It's not clear. But if you want to serve as a member of the host committee, and I don't know if there are any responsibilities involved, but at least be listed or shouted out, it's going to cost you $250,000. If you have money like that and you feel so strongly about getting Trump reelected, knock yourself out. I don't have that kind of money. I don't have that kind of money for any politician, $250,000. But, if I were a tech billionaire, maybe. But tomorrow, he's scheduled to be at the Trump National Golf Course. Oh, it says here at 9 a.m. So I guess the news conference will be scheduled at 9. That means he'll probably hit around 9:30, I'm guessing.
Is this fundraiser, does it come with, do you get like a pair of Trump's gold tennis shoes? Do you get a limited edition trading card?
It doesn't say
coins, nothing?
But in my history of going to big ticket events, not on this level, they usually have a swag bag. So
that's what I'm saying, like
there's
some type of swag bag. And I know he's constantly offering swag. He's got bobbleheads he's selling. He's got what are those little things, those non-fundable tokens?
Oh, NFTs.
The NFTs.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what would be in the swag bag because they're being ultra secretive about where it is. I don't know if they're trying to keep the press off the scent and they don't want unnecessary coverage, or they're trying to keep hidden some of the more influential attendees. I don't know. It just seemed odd that you wouldn't have that information available. But I guess if you were a serious inquiry, then maybe, they'll give you the information. But, $3,300 just to get in the door. And if you want preferred seating, I don't know, $3,300, I don't know if that even gets you a seat. It might be just standing room.
I'm so confused because for the most part, I would think if you are campaigning and you are trying to make sure that people know you're still the hot ticket, like, I'm still the man, you would want it out there. Who's coming? Who's attending? Who's spending these big bucks to let it know that you still have some pull, some draw? Why would you want to come through like a thief in the night?
You're not wrong. I'm trying to read into this. Yeah, I don't know why all this is clandestine in nature. I don't know why it's secretive. I don't know why they don't want to let us know that where this event will be, or some of the headliners who are going to be attending. But $3,300 gets you in the door. $7,500 gets you preferred seats. I don't know what preferred means. $50,000 will include a photo op with Donald Trump and attendance at a reception. And I don't know if it's there or somewhere else. Maybe it's a reception after the news conference tomorrow. $125,000 will get you to the level of co-host. But here's the thing I don't understand. If you pay your money at the last minute, does that mean you'll get your name on a placard, which is placed on the table? Do they shout you out on the microphone and say, hey, Mr. Mo Kelly, glad to see you in the house tonight. Donated $125,000. Please give him a round of applause. Is it that, or is it something else? Are you listed on the Trump website in perpetuity? These are real questions, because if I were going to give $125,000, I want to know exactly what I get. And maybe that's just for the serious inquiries, and they'll tell you over the phone.
Maybe, but anytime I hear about a promotion, an event, anything this big where they are this scant on the details, I think Fire Festival, and that's it.
Well, here's the thing. TMZ probably will find out, and they'll probably be there, and they'll probably report who they saw going in and coming out. I mean, because they have I don't know how they do it, but they have a beat on everyone. And also, if people are coming into LAX and you see a Peter Thiel or someone like that, you might be able to get the information out of them. Or if Elon Musk, for example, were to show up at Van Nuys Airport, at the private airport with his jet, and he's seen around about town, then you probably know he's going to the Trump fundraiser.
Maybe.
No. If Elon Musk is in LA right now, he is going to the Trump fundraiser.
No. I don't doubt that. What I'm saying, maybe these levels of stars and names are showing up, but to me, when you're not when you're keeping the information quiet, that means no one's showing up or people that you don't want to know that are associated with you are showing up. It's one of the two.
Well, I would be concerned because, yes, you would want more press coverage to encourage more people to show up. And you wouldn't need to post it on a website. You'd be phone banking it and calling these potential big money donors directly. That's just in my history. But we'll know more by the end of the night, hopefully, where it was, how successful it was, some of the people who might have been in attendance and who made major donations. And then we'll probably see Donald Trump tomorrow for this press conference from his country club tomorrow morning. Give that information to you so you have it. It's later with Mo Kelly, KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. And next segment, remember how I told you yesterday about how big I was on education generally, civics specifically? Saw this poll about what people did or did not know about the Constitution, basic facets about American government, and maybe you'll be surprised, but I was not surprised. We are pretty ignorant about the country in which we live. We'll tell you about that next.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Everyone talks about freedom. Everyone talks about it. Freedom of this, freedom to do that, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. But I always wonder how much you actually know about civics and the Constitution. I hear people all the time. I read about people all the time. I love the Constitution. I love this country. I'm a patriot. And oftentimes they don't even know what they're talking about. And it's really confounding to me because people say they love the Constitution. And I always say this. It's weird that you love a document, but okay, whatever. You love the Constitution, but you probably don't even know what's in the Constitution. I mean, loving the Second Amendment and the First Amendment doesn't mean you love the Constitution. It means that you just like 8 sentences of the Constitution. But that's neither here nor there. But to quantify how much we do or do not know about the basics of our own government, the Edinburgh Constitution Day Civic Survey is back. And the Constitution Day is September 17th, and it offers a fascinating glimpse into what Americans think they know, what they actually know, and what they don't know about our government and constitutional rights. I found this really interesting. Nearly 2/3 of Americans, and I think, Mark, you get a kick out of this, 2/3 of Americans, 65%, can correctly name all 3 branches of government. I'm surprised that it's even 65%.
When you put some people on the spot about that, you get some pretty crazy answers.
Right. They think it's the Nina Pinta and the Santa Maria. No,
if
it's
you're
not
lucky,
that.
yeah.
When it comes to the First Amendment, and we talk about this all the time, not only here on the show, but just in our social media, whenever there's a story about someone being sanctioned or fired or somehow criticized for what they may say publicly, people want to say freedom of speech. Have no idea what it is. But when it comes to the First Amendment, almost everyone knows about freedom of speech. 74% of people surveyed said it's connected to the First Amendment, freedom of speech. But the other 4 rights protected in the First Amendment, most people don't know. Only 39% could name freedom of religion. 29% were able to name freedom of the press. And 27% could recall the right to assembly, and only 11% could name the right to petition the government. Because most people stop at freedom of speech and they have no idea what that means or what it also includes. And I always tell people, and I should say, this is how I test people. If you understand what freedom of speech is, give me the first 5 words of the First Amendment. Because that will tell me if you understand. Because people say, wait, Elon Musk, he's bringing back freedom of speech. No, he has nothing to do with freedom of speech. It's a private platform. You know, whether he allows you to say whatever you want or whether he blocks everybody has nothing to do with freedom of speech. And that's why I say, give me the first 5 words of the First Amendment. Congress shall make no law. So if it's not connected to a law that has been enacted by Congress or some other portion of the government, it does not have anything to do with freedom of speech. In other words, if I should get fired tonight for something I should say, which is a distinct possibility. If I, say something stupid, I can get fired.
For abusing a fellow employee.
Right. Hypothetically speaking.
Of course, yes.
And iHeart/KFI says, Mo, you are done. You've crossed the line. That's not a free speech issue. I'm borrowing this microphone. They're providing the space for me to talk to you right now in your car or at home on your iHeartRadio app. It's not a freedom of speech issue. It's not like I'm going to be put in jail for bothering Mark or making fun of him. But KFI can say, you know what, you went too far. And I think it's time for us to separate. Not a freedom of speech issue. I can go home and I can get on my computer and type away. I can write letters. I can stand on the corner and yell at the top of my lungs and not go to jail, assuming I'm not violating some sort of noise ordinance. But people don't understand it. They want to say like, oh my gosh, they fired Gina Carano because what she posted on social media? That's a violation of freedom of speech. No, it isn't. First 5 words, Congress shall make no law. And if you learn that, you learn the First Amendment. But the survey also, getting back to this survey, also found that 22% of the respondents, and this is really funny but not funny, 22% of the respondents said the right to bear arms was in the First Amendment. 1 in 5, a little better than 1 in 5, thought the right to bear arms. And all the Second Amendment constitutional scholars out there say, what do you mean?
Oops.
Of course it's the Second Amendment. But, people mistakenly overestimate how much they know. So 22% of people surveyed said the right to bear arms was part of the First Amendment. And the survey also dug into what Americans knew or what they thought they knew about the Supreme Court. Another hot topic. 86% of people surveyed were correct and knew that the Supreme Court justices were appointed, not elected. Thank goodness. 85% knew justices served life terms. 56% were correct and understood that the Supreme Court, not the president, had the final say on whether presidential actions are constitutional or any law for that matter.
Well, when you throw into the equation that the president nominates the justices, that does throw a wrinkle in there.
It does. It impacts the final decision or, the opinions which will be written. Yes. They are definitely connected. I'm just talking about the basic civics of it all.
Yeah. You can never count on people knowing the basics.
Yeah. But see, that's the thing. It's like, and people get loud. When I say loud, they're bold on social media and they're wrong. I mean, and it's never more evident than with the First Amendment, something that supposedly we all hold dear. And believe you me, I bet you the next time someone gets fired or someone gets criticized or someone gets suspended or someone gets fined for something that they say or someone loses a job for something that they say, someone, and it might be you listening right now, will say, oh my gosh, this is a free speech issue. No, it isn't. Please learn how your country works. Congress shall make no law. It's Later with Mo Kelly. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
We'll help you figure it out. It's kind of what we do.
KFI.
And KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.